just going to the Sun Road. That is just spectacular, yo. Beautiful.
So welcome aboard again, everybody. Again, my name's Caroline. If you have any questions at all, please just let me know. You can raise your hand or run up here and ask them. But I always say that I kind of have set commentary or kind of set topics that I like to talk about. But you all paid for this experience, and I want this to be about the experience you want and want to get out of it. So if you have any questions at all, please ask me. I'll do my best to answer them. We've also got Danny out back, so we can put our heads together. But we'll be coming around. This is what is known as the Narrows. It's a beautiful glance at the Continental Divide. Those are those peaks right in front of us at the end of the lake. So everyone can just kind of sit here and take all of those mountains in for just a moment, because really past 2 months have been kind of crazy weather. We've had a lot of smoke here. Is anyone from Oregon or California? Yeah, so you're probably like, this is so clear and nice, but it wasn't for a while. We were getting a lot of smoke for about the past 2 months, and then about 2 weeks ago we had rain come in and kind of clear it all out. So you guys all picked a very, very good time to come. Woohoo! Woohoo! All right, yeah, I love the excitement. Yeah, you couldn't even see those peaks back there, so super special that we can see them today. But like I just mentioned, we just passed through what has been known as the Narrows, and that's the narrowest part in the lake. And the reason for it is because of what is off to our right. All of that rock there is known as the Alton Formation. And the Alton Formation is very, very special rock. It's made of dolomite and limestone, which is kind of cool, but the cool part is it's the oldest exposed rock in the park. 1.6 billion years old with a B. So it's very, very old and very strong. If you didn't know, Glacier as a whole is a glacially carved landscape. And so that means glaciers came through and kind of pushed all the sediment around to make mountains and valleys. And I'll talk about that more kind of later in the tour, but it's very rare to see islands in a glacially carved landscape or a glacially carved lake. So the reason we have that narrow part in the lake and the reason we have islands in the lake is actually because of that rock. It was so strong that it was able to withstand glacial force. So pretty impressive. So when we see these islands today, they're actually just giant spires or giant towers that reach up from the bottom of the lake almost 300 feet to breach the surface. So really kind of cool to think about what's laying below us right now. We're getting some nice splash action and wave action. That's very typical for this area, this lake. So we can get gusts up to 100 miles per hour, up to 6-foot waves. And so it's a little dicey right now, but once we come around the island, it'll kind of level out. The winds usually come from the west, dip over the Continental Divide, usually those 6 foot waves are in the summertime. My boss saw them, I did not. The highest waves I've seen on this lake are about 3.5, 4. Just this summer. So it's a little bit of a different tour experience than I'll get you there. But also the surface temperature of this water is very cold. It never really gets above 50 degrees Fahrenheit. And so that's partially because this is glacial melt and snow melt that feeds this lake. But it's mostly because of the wave action. So when waves come here, they churn or circulate the water, and they do so and are constantly circulating that water so that surface temperature never gets the chance to heat up. So we'll be coming up on Wild Goose Island here in just a few moments. Make sure you get those pictures now. We don't come this close to Wild Goose Island on the way now. We're kind of on the other side of the lake. That's the side of the route that we take. So I'll slow down so that everyone can get those pictures.
There it is, Goose Island.
Go inside. Do you want to go outside?
So very unlikely we see any wildlife out there. But Wild Goose Island is a great example of kind of the abundance and plant diversity that we have here in the park. You can see many different plants and trees surviving there, making the island their home, which I think is a great kind of example of the resilience of life here in the park. Again, we get high winds, very cold temperatures in the other seasons besides the summer. And all of those plants are just able to survive and thrive there, which is really special. You might notice something funky about the trees there. They only have branches growing on one side. That's something known as flagging. And that's again because those high winds come from the west, hit those trees, and create such a harsh environment that they can't grow branches on their western side. So really interesting to kind of see the physical landscape here, the rocks, the trees, the wildlife, and then say, wait a minute, this is how all the elements are affecting it. So flagging is one example of those. You'll also notice as we move across the lake how there are many wind-swept trees, so trees that are just kind of falling on their side almost, what it looks like. And that's also just because of the high winds and harsh climates here. You might have record here for over 10,000 years. We know this not only from oral histories, but also from artifacts that have been found on the shorelines of this lake. So really neat. And the Blackfeet consider themselves a plains people. Their reservation borders the eastern boundary of this park, but they also consider these mountains and this land their spiritual lands. So we are also on St. Mary Lake. I kind of mentioned the winds and the waves and the temperatures earlier, but this is the second largest lake in the park. It's 9.9 miles long. Over on the west side, Lake McDonald is 10 miles long. So maybe it's out just by a little bit there. I still say you chose the better lake to come to the tour on. Don't tell them over Lake McDonald that I said that. But no, I'm just kidding. They're both great, but I do have a special place in my heart for St. Mary Lake. St. Mary Lake is almost 300 feet at its deepest point. It averages more about 240 feet across the entire lake. So very, very deep. Again, that's evidence of the glacial carving that went on here. And finally, luckily, we're on this boat, the Joy 2. So the Joy 2 was built in 1984 by our owner, Scott Birch, and his dad. This is a family-owned business. We're not associated with the Park Service, so it's been in operation since 1938, and it's 4th generation now, which is really cool. And it's definitely an 80s baby. It's got these carpeted walls and 500 horsepower engine, so the Choice diesel twin turbochargers is what we've got powering us across the lake here today. Anyone want to take a guess at what the Little Chief has as her horsepower? No guesses? 4? 250? She's got 57. 57 horsepower, so she's got again, you picked the better boat. No. Yeah, so Many Glacier, they have 2 separate boats and 2 separate lakes. Their lakes are a lot smaller, but the valley is really, really beautiful. So has anyone been up to Many Glacier or ridden the boats up there? Nice, yeah. So you can attest it's an amazing valley. It's very gorgeous. The mountains are really close up. You kind of feel like sucked in by all of the valleys in the park. They were built shortly after the park was established in 1910. They had running water, so they had flushable toilets. That was definitely a luxury for back in the day. But how you would get there was you would take a train either into East Glacier or West Glacier, where then you would hop on horseback and ride into the park. Remember, at this time there weren't any roads, really. The Going to the Sun Road wasn't for another 20 years before it opened. And so you hop on horseback, and in this case, you get on a boat at the foot of St. Mary Lake, ride that boat up to a dock at Sadabat Beach in between these 2 cliff faces. And then you dock there with about 70 other people, and you get up and walk to your beautiful kind of lake vacation getaway. So pretty neat. But if you couldn't tell, it took a lot of time and a lot of money to get to these chalets. And then by the time you got here, you probably wanted to spend 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks here staying at St. Mary Lake, or throughout different chalet systems in the park. There were many, many different chalet systems in Many Glacier Valley, even in just St. Mary Village, as well as up by Gunsight Mountain at Gunsight Lake, just all over. So you could kind of hop between them. But like I was saying, it took a lot of time and money to get here, so it was very much reserved for the elite. And if you know your American history, you know that shortly after 1910 was the First World War, followed by the Great Depression, the Second World War, and then in the 40s and 50s you even had a rise in automobiles and rise in motor inns. A lot of motor inns were being built in the park, and so people much rather vie for that option to stay at a motor inn for like a week with their own car. It's more accessible, affordable, they could do what they wanted. Back 1.6 billion years ago, it was actually an inland sea here where we are sitting, and it was known as the Belt Sea. It was very shallow and large. And what happened during this time was there weren't a lot of plants around the sea to keep it from, to keep the rocks and sediment around the sea from eroding. And so they eroded very easily. They would float into the lake and sink to the bottom. So all the sand, silt, and other sediments would float in or into the sea and that entrance float to the bottom. So over time, this created layers that put enough pressure on top of one another to eventually form rock over millions of years. And this rock is sedimentary rock. You can see evidence of it on any mountain, any cliffside around us. And so again, the Belt Sea was way below us. It had to come up somehow. So that brings us to our uplift section, how we got this massive elevation gain. There was, after the Belt Sea had dissipated, there was this major tectonic event known as the Lewis Overthrust. And what happened was the North American tectonic plate and the Pacific tectonic plate collided. And they put so much pressure and tension on top of one another that one plate actually folded on top of the other. So now fold is very special. It's what brought the high elevation gain here, and it's also why we get to see the Alton Formation and why we have islands in this lake. So again, normally you think that older rock, the oldest rock would sit at the bottom with newer layers stacked on top of it. But that oldest layer was brought to the surface because of the fold. And so that's why that strong rock was able to form the narrows in our lake as well as those islands. So pretty cool detail.
Bits and pieces. Here we go.
Out, so it's good, but I'll take a nice leave.
see that Western Trail Barrett?
That's the Bering Falls.
I'll be in the back. I might see.
And cleaning and cooking. Yeah, that's a big
Are you from Manhattan? Okay.
honestly only did like twice a week. Oh, that's amazing. So there's that big cove, and then off to the left, there's like a little brown speck. So if you see the big rock wall in that cove and the trees, it's right in between.
In the water?
Yeah, in the water. Yeah, if anyone has binoculars, I always forget to bring them.
Is that a moose?
Yeah, it's over in the water.
Oh, I see it right down there.
Binoculars. So if you look at the rock wall,
Where's it at?
that's in that cove back
The
there.
big one?
And then look at the trees right to the left. Trees swimming in the water.
Here, we'll give everybody a chance to have a peek.
Yeah. Come on.
Go ahead. Straight across, right in the water. We got binoculars if y'all want to take a peek.
You're doing selfie at every. 1, 2, 3. Also, thank you. No, we don't need to. We zoom in on it. Yesterday I went hiking and the lake like from me that big rock, massive boulders. Massive boulders. And I was like,
Y'all want to take a look? We got binoculars. You want to look? Anybody want to take a peek? Go ahead.
Yeah, I would love to. You're gonna have to play with it a little bit. The turn dial is in the center.
Oh, I see it.
That's awesome.
Oh, cool.
Good eye.
Take a look, y'all.
Binoculars.
I'm trained now.
We saw like almost no wildlife.
Oh, really? That's surprising.
I mean, we saw like maybe like
Did you see bison?
Big old moose. You can see it.
Oh, okay.
we were there for like 4 days. Single.
Oh, that's so interesting.
Yeah.
Saw like maybe like. It's kind of anti. Yeah.
Well, now you can see a really far away moose.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're in the cove down here.
Yeah, it's a far away
We're
one.
from the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, and we have moose up there, but
Oh, last
seen
week
here, yeah.
there were 3 moose over there, and 2 of them were just fighting. Bull moose.
What? Yeah.
Oh, that would have been something to catch.
Insane.
All right, we should probably keep going, but we can stop again once we get up there, so we can get more looks at it.
Nice.
You're welcome. Thank you.
We're probably going to need them again. Now it's time to see a grizzly.
Right. Here today, you got lucky.
Big old beautiful moose right there. Howdy.
We watched the good ones in the car. You're like, no.
We only have like a second, so.
We mostly just.
We saw it.
Oh, you can see it.
It's a
Okay.
moose.
It's a moose.
Awesome.
Thank you. We're having a hard time like leaving without knowing like what it was. It looks like it does, but it might be small. I don't know. I can't really see it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, to the right, yeah. I don't know.
Man.
I don't know if they're moving.
Okay, down the stairs.
It's like you can see like from this far.
Should we get walking?
Yeah. Are we going back or are we going straight?
I think we're gonna keep going, right?
How far?
Okay.
Oh, wow, what a view. Yeah, it's a little bit of a drop. But the temp changed quick, huh?
I know.
Had to strip the coat quick. Howdy.
Hot. Sweating. And I was freezing like 3 minutes ago.
You're right.
Iron in it, so you might see this going. But the sea was very shallow at this time. And so what happened was oxygen was reaching the sea floor and
That's so cute.
are you having fun?
He's 2 years old today.
Oh, happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Birthday boy.
What's your birthday?
But basically the sea was very shallow when this rock was forming at the sea floor. And since it has a lot of iron in it, when it was forming it was oxidizing. And so that's how it gets this red color. You might also notice like the green, gray, blue rock, that's Apakuni argillite. So Apakuni argillite also has a high iron content, but when it was forming, the sea floor, or the sea was very deep, and so not as much oxygen was reaching the sea floor, and so it didn't get the chance to oxidize and get the red color. So they're both argillites, but one's red and one's green, gray, blue. So kind of interesting there. We're only about 10 minutes from the falls. So I just like to point out now, because you won't be able to hear me probably too well once we get around the corner here. But there's like a nice little bridge. We'll hang out there for like 20 minutes or so. I like to head back a little, like just a couple minutes past 12, so we can make it back in time. I'll be the last one to leave, so you're welcome to hike ahead if you want to. Again, there's another waterfall back by the dock. It's like 50 yards past the dock on the same trail. It's Bering Falls. So if you want to see it, I encourage you to go and see it. It's beautiful. And just make sure you're back on the dock by 1. But again, I'll be the caboose on the way back. Yeah, but have a snack, enjoy the falls. It's a beautiful color, and it's a beautiful waterfall. So we'll have fun.
Got it. I keep bumping into them rock tips. Oh, that's definitely worth it. Nice. Wow. No, not today. Yeah. It is spectacular. Spectacular. Right? Absolutely beautiful. That's why we came, right? Howdy. Excuse me, Doc. Oh, look at that. A little chippy. He's warming himself on the rocks.
Yeah.
That is so cute. He's just relaxing. Cute. Excuse me. Fortune favors the bold. Yes. Not done ripping. All this burned in 2016. %. Let me get what I can now. I'm not sure if I did. This is absolutely spectacular. Welcome to Logan's Pass.